Hello, viewers. Welcome on this episode of Find Your Laksh. Our guest today is Group Captain Adarsh Sidharth, a veteran fighter controller who has served in various air defense units. After becoming a fighter controller, he has undergone various courses and attained the highest professional category of CAT A. And he has the distinction of being among the first batch of fighter controllers who were sent abroad to Israel to train for the AWACS, and he has been instrumental in developing a lot of procedures, SOPs, as far as the operations are concerned. Also, he has got the distinction of being selected to develop and operationalize the indigenously developed AEW and C. So without much ado, let me welcome Group Captain Adarsh Sidharth. Hello, welcome, Group Captain Adarsh. Been a pleasure having you here for this show, and I'm sure the viewers, the defense aspirants, would be equally delighted to have you on the show and tell them about various nuances and the concept as far as the AWACS are concerned, AWACS and AEWs. So, with that, welcome on this show. If I may start by asking you, what has been your motivation to join the Air Force?
So firstly, thank you very much for inviting me. It's a privilege. And for the viewers, just for their knowledge, when I was commissioned in 1995, Pandey sir here was, one of the commanding officers of the, frontline air defense mobile units. And we used to look at them as mentors. And I'm truly honored and privileged, sir, to be here on your show.
Absolutely. So, now, like I said, the aspirants are also keen to know what have been your stories, life story. How did you get into the Air Force? What has been the motivation?
Sir, I'm second generation. So my father was in the transport stream. That is, he used to fly, aircraft of the transport kind, like Avro, etc. And I was always, attracted towards the uniform. And, I always wanted to serve a nation, be a soldier of sorts. So I got through in combined defense services in the army because I wear glasses. So, flying was out of the question. But I always wanted to join the blue uniform and the Air Force. So with that as a background, I appeared for the direct entry scheme at that point in time, and cleared the selections. And there I chose administration branch. In the administration branch, there were three options: that is pure admin, air traffic controller, and the fighter controller. So that was pretty much out of our hands in the sense it was a trifurcation stream done by the Air Force Academy. And we were selected, that is a group of us, were trifurcated or selected into the fighter controller stream. So in 95, I got commissioned. And thereafter, we did, after selection into the fighter controller stream, we did a course to, familiarize us and learn about fighter controlling, after which you get what is known category. So I was a category C fighter controller. There are three categories. You have a category C fighter controller, then you have a category B fighter controller, and you have a category A fighter controller. So a category A fighter controller is basically an exceptional fighter controller. And in addition to this, you also have what is known as weapons school, as it is known internationally and among the international air forces. But in India, we do the training in what is known as the Tactic Air Combat Development Establishment, or TACD.
Yes.
And this basically trains you to be an elite category A fighter controller of sorts. And just to give you an equation as to how you equate it, and if you want to understand, those of you who have seen Maverick, the movie, now the focus is on the fighter pilot, as it should be. But as Maverick is entering into the enemy airspace towards the latter part of the movie, you see that he doesn't have an overall picture of what's happening across the enemy forces.
Absolutely.
And then you see the E2C Hawkeye, where you have the lady weapons director, as they call them, in the US Air Force, guiding him and telling him there are two bogies at so and so distance and range. And then that's how he comes to know of the threat, and he takes evasive action. So this is equivalent role and task of a fighter controller in the Indian Air Force.
So this course that you do in the TACD is the same master fighter controller, right? So where you
That's correct,
train
sir.
alongside the strike fighter pilots and the interceptor pilots.
That's correct, sir. And today, the Indian Air Force is not only training your fighter pilots and the fighter controllers together. That's how it started. But today, it's a joint course where they understand that it is an interrelated connection of systems. So now
Mhm.
all kinds of services and support services, from the person who's manning the missiles, up to the helicopters, up to the transport aircrafts, up to the fighter controllers, everybody's included in this course. And so it makes a elite team to take. You can equate it to sort of the special forces.
Yes, I think that I am not very sure what all it is going to address. Air Force has announced that it's starting a weapons controller branch. So let us see. Let's see the contours, as they are revealed. But yes, I myself been through this master fighter controllers course, and indeed, as you said, it's an elite course, and where you get to really integrate and as a fighting machine,
Yes.
alongside the strike fighter strike leaders and fighter combat leaders. And so coming back to your journey, as a fighter controller, of course, I've seen you as a youngster in Jaisalmer,
Yes.
and thereafter, how has been the journey to get onto the AWACS?
So I would say my journey has been pretty unique. Everybody's journey is unique, but for me particularly, I had a lot of options as I grew in this branch and service.
Mm-hmm.
So the beautiful thing about the Air Force is that it gives you a lot of options as you grow. So as a fighter controller, I after Jaisalmer, that is 1995 when I first joined, I picked up my category B in Amritsar, which was my next tenure. And thereafter, as a category B controller, I also got selected for doing the Master Fighter Controllers course. And while I was doing the Master Fighter Controllers course and I finished the course, at some point in life, you have options.
Yes.
The Air Force is also expanding. So they even sent me to do the pilot aptitude battery test because they wanted to see which fighter controllers are, good to join either as the number two in the cockpit in the Su-30 or as, the UAV.
Okay.
Finally, the option was laid out. I had cleared the pilot aptitude battery test, and I chose to remain a fighter controller because I wanted to grow further in this particular stream. And thereafter, the options opened to I got selected for the AWACS. Now, the AWACS, of course, we were close to about 35 to 37 years of age, but we were asked to undergo medicals for the flying branch equivalent. And those of who got selected, we did the training for the AWACS at Israel. Now, AWACS was a new domain because that domain was not yet available. We were one of the select few countries, probably the eighth in the world, to own an AWACS and operate an AWACS because it was force multiplier, which is not, technology is not available to all.
Yes.
Just to put in perspective, sir, AWACS is basically gives you a look from an altitude or a height to see deep into enemy airspace. Because if you're standing on the ground, the earth is curved. That's how you see an horizon. And as you grow higher in height, you can see a larger horizon and far depth into the territory, wherever you want to look.
Yes.
So we got trained in Israel, and AWACS is a system of systems. It not
Mm-hmm.
only has your radar or radio detection and ranging capability to detect your threat, it also has a number of other systems in the electronic domain, which include communication based detection
Yes.
and electronic based detection, and this
Something
could be
like an
passive
EW,
and passive. Sorry.
an EW package or something like that.
Yes, sir. So that's what I said, electronic based. I'm not
Okay.
going into the
Okay.
specifics
Yes.
given the classification of this program. But communication based and electronic based, where you can intercept these signals
Yes.
and give a single picture to your fighters. so that they know that this is enemy, this is friend, this is what the enemy is doing, this is what the friend is doing, how to position your friend in such a way that he has advantage over the enemy, etc., is all done in the AWACS, on board the AWACS, by the team of controllers on board the AWACS.
Okay.
So once we finished with that training, we came back here to India. We operationalized this AWACS system for the Indian Air Force. And somewhere along this line, I was selected to go to DRDO, because the Indian program decided to, why buy from outside? Why not make in India?
Mm-hmm.
So we made the AEWNC, or Airborne Warning and Control System. Theoretically, an AWACS and an AWC separates themselves as in capability. That is, some little functions may be there within the AWNC as compared to the AWACS.
Mm-hmm.
And the number of crew that it holds. Like an AWACS may hold about 10 or 15 people, whereas an AWNC may hold much lesser.
Okay.
But the Indian AWNC, I am proud to say, has capability almost equivalent to the AWACS, which we have, with respect to capability-wise.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, the crew is limited, but a lot of the the functions are automated to make do with the deficiency in crew.
Absolutely.
So this is also a stepping project for the Indian AWACS, which I'm sure right now, I have retired, so I'm sure right now India is started that program and moving towards it.
I'm sure there must be some progress being made on that, because ultimately, we're talking about Atmanirbharta in the entire defense sector. And we made a lot of progress in almost all the fields, as far as be it Army, Navy, Air Force. And you also happened to be the first of the first batch of the fighter controllers who've been selected for these AWACS.
Yes, sir. I was the first, one among the first batch of lucky controllers to undergo the training and to operationalize the AWACS system in India.
Right.
We formed the squadron in India.
Excellent. Now, would you like to share some of your experiences, some missions, without getting into the specifics? I mean, basically to elucidate the role of a fighter controller, when you're sitting on board AWACS, what all functions do you perform?
So, sir, without getting into specifics and what is available in the open domain, let us look at what happened post the Balakot incident. So obviously our adversaries decided to retaliate. Now that detection is a teamwork. Today, as you and I sit down at homes and sleep at night, the air defense of the nation is continuing 24 hours, and you have weapon systems, or fighters and missiles which are on readiness, and you have your surveillance capability, that is the capability to detect well in advance, also 24 hours in the nation. So this is happening pan India, and you have AWACS which are launched, and the AWACS is patrolling the borders, and as part of that sensor grid, or the network of sensors which are there, which could be active or passive. That is, there is an active way in which some beam is going across and coming back, in which you're detecting, or you're detecting something which is already being transmitted by the enemy, and so that he's there. So like I said, these sensors form a grid, and as the AWACS is flying, it is detecting. So I can't get into specifics, but we have been on many such missions. And this is part and parcel of daily life. This is what we do. I'm sure. So you have so many war stories of Jaisalmer, which again I'm sure I can't tell, because I was part of that team that time.
Yes.
But detection, identification, interception, and its neutralization or destruction, as we call it. Now, neutralization today is hard kill or soft kill. You can either make him land, force land, and then you have neutralized the threat, or you can destroy him like in wartime. So these functionalities of air defense, we are doing better with such systems as AWACS.
Indeed. So like, we had these, the radar that I commanded, the TRU, which is the low-level combat radars, sort of, and during the Kargil time, we are all there. So we had better capabilities as compared to the other radars. as far as detecting low level threat is concerned. But yes, once you are elevated into the sky, maybe 10, 12 kilometers or whatever height, altitude rather, your capability multiplies manyfold.
Yes.
So having acquired this capability, so one, the main the role of the fighter controllers is the interception, guiding towards interception and recovery, etc. Now, how much of an involvement is there as far as strike missions are concerned? Now, once the platform is there, you have everything available there. Is there any involvement also as far as guiding the strike missions also is concerned?
So, I would like to bring it in such a way to understand that it's teamwork.
Hmm.
You have a mission objective. Now, you are sitting on top of the world, and you have a depth at which you can see, which is in hundreds of kilometers.
Mhm.
In the depth of hundreds of kilometers, your own comrades, your own pilots, your own weapon systems officers sitting on the ground defending, and your own team of pilots that is going across is towards a particular mission objective. Now, they are themselves self sufficient. There's no two ways about it. But they're, because of physics and, the curvature and line of sight limitations and considerations, their capability to visualize where the enemy would be is limited.
Yes.
Now, this is where, the airborne battle manager or fighter controller who's doing the role of an airborne battle manager orchestrates or plays that mission in such a way that he keeps the our own aircraft safe from the adversary.
I think that itself is a very big plus in the sense, earlier there are a lot of things left to chance and planning and other things. But yeah, as the battle is becoming more and more dynamic, there is a need to have this. Okay, so that is a very good account of the AWACS and as for the role is concerned.